It's not going to come as a surprise, I'm sure, that in today's episode, I'm going to be referencing something that I have read in Mel Robbins' latest book, Let Them. I absolutely love this book. I have been literally saying, let them, let her, let him, let it for pretty much, the last couple of weeks. It is a fantastic book, but today we're centering in on the philosophy of friendship and community and talking about the three pillars of friendship that she references in her book, because community and friendship have been on the forefront of my mind this week especially. I'm building something behind the scenes which ties into this, but also I've been reflecting on my own experiences with the people that I know and kind of how connection really is such an important thing to have here in Italy, especially, with the experiences we've had house hunting recently, which has really highlighted that for me even more so. So let's talk about these three pillars, because I think if you're planning to move to Italy, this could potentially help you in terms of building your community and network, but also it could help you wherever you may be in the world. So she talks about these three pillars, which essentially are proximity, timing, and energy. And what they relate to are the things and the factors, I should say, that tie into building a community and a friendship. So, if we're going to focus in on the first pillar, proximity, proximity essentially relates to how close you are to the people that you want to make connections with. I think if we're really honest, proximity is really important. If you don't see somebody every single day, you can still have a connection, absolutely, but it's going to be very different to the connection you can have with people who you're able to see on a regular basis and do things together. And so I think if you are looking to build a community, especially here in Italy, this is the first thing you need to consider. You need to consider building community with people who you can see on a regular basis, because it is going to make a difference to the kind of level of friendship you're going to have, but also to the experiences that you'll have with these people. When you have more long distance friendships and connections, whilst they can still be really special and close, they are different because you are not going to have as many shared experiences together in person. And that does make a difference. So this is the first pillar that she references, proximity, which I think is something that we forget sometimes. We think that it's still okay to maintain long distance friendships. And yes, it can be, but you have to remember that kind of friendship is going to be different to the types of friendships that you have in person and those in person shared experiences. Now, the second pillar she references is timing. And this relates to the timing of your life. Everybody goes through different things at different times in their life. Some people are thinking of settling down. Some people are focused on their career. Some people are not sure what they want to do with their lives. But the timing of your life is going to impact the quality and the type of friendships that you have. I think it's more difficult to relate to people who are at a different stage of life to you. If you are friends with somebody who is settling down, for example, they're thinking of starting a family, they're already married, but you yourself are kind of carefree, young, not sure what you want to do with your life, of course, it's going to be more difficult to relate to somebody who is a lot further down the road than you in terms of what they're doing with their life. And so timing really is everything. And it is the reason why some friendships don't work out. It is the reason why it can be difficult to build friendships in the first place, because you are at different stages in your life. And so I think knowing this can also help you to decide, you know, how you can seek people out who are at a similar stage in life to you. And it's also going to help you to realize that if you do start to lose contact with people, it's not necessarily anything personal, but it could just be that the timing in your life is off. You are focusing on different things. You no longer have the same kinds of things in common that you once did when you were at a more similar stage in life. So I think this is another really, really important kind of aspect to consider when it comes to building your community, trying to find people who you can relate to, who want the same kinds of things as you, and most importantly, are at the same kind of level as you in terms of where they're at in their life. And the third pillar is energy. And this is like the vibe that you give off. Because you see, if your energy is low vibe, then it's going to be more difficult to connect with people who are more high vibe and more positive and optimistic about life. And so you need to be realistic about the energy that you are giving off and also the energy that you receive from other people. If the energy you pick up on from other people is completely different to yours and it kind of brings you down in a way, I think that is a clear indication that maybe that is not a friendship or community that you should be pursuing. I liken this a lot to expat communities online because the energy in those groups can be really off sometimes. And you can enter that community and be really high vibe and positive and optimistic about your potential move to Italy, and immediately receive energy that is the complete opposite to that and almost wants to bring you down. And so that is why energy is really important. Like we all give off energy, whether we realize it or not. And we can subconsciously pick up on that energy as well. Like, I don't know about you, I'm a very sensitive person. I can pick up on the energy from people as well as from places. I can go into a place and immediately feel if something is not quite right, just based on how the atmosphere feels to me and the energy that I can pick up on. So it's a really powerful thing. And I think if you are wanting to build your community and your friendship circle, you should realistically look at your own energy and the vibes that you are giving off subconsciously and consciously to other people. If you are, quite closed, if you are maybe not as positive as you could be, that is going to impact the sort of people that you're going to attract into your life and the sort of people that you're going to be able to connect with. So these 3 pillars are an incredible way to really objectively look at your friendship circle and your community, and also understand when things don't go according to plan or things seem to be going wrong. You're losing contact with people, you don't have as many friends as before. It's usually because one of these pillars isn't in place or there is a problem under one of these areas. And I think when you can really understand it like this, you don't take it to heart anymore. You really, understand if there is anything that you can do. And if there isn't, then it's just the natural course of life. Because there is a thing here in Italy where a lot of Italian people will grow up with the same core set of friends pretty much for all of their life. And I don't think that this is necessarily the same for every single country. I think in the UK, friendships are more transient. You meet different people, you have different groups of friends throughout your life. It's not the same circle that you kind of live and die with. And I feel that, it's important to have some kind of perspective on this. Culture plays a key part into friendships and communities, but also it is your own lived experiences that impact the kinds of connections that you are going to make. If you are trying to make connections with people who you have absolutely nothing in common with, they cannot relate to your life or to your upbringing, of course, that friendship is going to be very shaky at best or very superficial if you do manage to make any kind of a connection. So I think these are really, really important considerations when it comes to building your own community and friendship. And I think especially when you're planning to move to another country, this has to be something that you consider, because if you plan to move to Italy in particular, community and friendship is really going to change your experience here. And so I think really being aware of these 3 pillars and how you can contribute to each of them, and objectively looking at the connections you have under each of these pillars, can radically change your perspective and your overall experience in life. I will see you in the next episode.